Howdy folks, it is Diecast Buffet here again, and let me tell you, that Richmond race was the most NASCAR race of all time. Maybe, I don't know. I'm telling you, for 99% of the entire race, it was the most boring Richmond race I may have ever saw. And then Stenhouse just Control-Alt-Deletes, disconnects his brain, runs into Brian Priest, or they broke up something on the car. I don't know what happened. And then Austin Dillon just completely knocks out Logano and Hamlin, and he wins Richmond. What just happened? Let's talk about it. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. We've been on the break, the Olympics. I'm actually glad they had an Olympic break. I've been very much enjoying watching the Olympics. Yes, I like the Olympics. Sorry. NASCAR's back at Richmond. In my opinion, you couldn't have picked a worse track to go back to, because y'all know how I feel about this track. And I'm telling you, this was the most NASCAR race of all time, maybe. Literally, it was radio silence for 398 laps. Not a single caution for incident, I don't think. It was just so boring. The only thing that was remotely interesting was watching Suarez go through the field and take the lead on option tires. Everything else was just Richmond. Nothing happens. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. I don't understand why people are obsessed with this racetrack. I could care less if they've been racing here since the dark ages, the 1600s. I could care less. Yeah, the racing might have been good in the 90s. It might have been good in the 2000s. It's 2024. Racing sucks there, in my opinion. So I had extremely low predictions for it. The finish was insane. We'll talk about that. As you can tell, I'm really tired. I'm on like my 5th or 6th cup of coffee. I'm on like 5 hours of sleep. And watching a Richmond race that's that boring while you're tired, it feels like a Coke 600 in a bad way. I found more excitement watching one NFL preseason play than the 398 laps of that Richmond race. Ooh, I'm so glad football's back. That's why football's my number one sport, because I've been watching football for 15 years every week, and I cannot remember a single time a regular season week in the NFL was ever boring. There was always something exciting, some drama, some entertainment, something. In NASCAR, it's like a roller coaster. One week it's Daytona, it's crazy, cars flipping on fire. And then you go to Richmond and I'm falling asleep. Like, I'm literally, you could probably see my eyes, I'm that tired. But the finish for this race was absolute bananas. Austin Dillon, I was watching it and he had the lead. So Stenhouse does, I don't know what happened. It could have been his fault. It could have been a part broke. I don't know what happened there. Maybe Ryan Priest deserved it. I have no idea. So that's kind of out of my vocabulary. Who's at fault? So that happens. Caution comes out with 2 to go. Literally happened right in front of Austin Dillon, trying to get to the white flag, and they have the restart. Austin Dillon takes the bottom, and I'm like, how bad do you want it? And I see Austin Dillon not roughing up the 22 car, giving him a lot of room, it seemed. I'm like, he don't want it bad enough. Because I know I would door slam a car to win a cup race. I'm sorry, I would. And when it got to the white flag, and I'm like, he don't want it bad enough. Dillon does not want a playoff spot that bad enough. He don't want to win a cup race bad enough. Apparently he did. And I was actually really surprised. So he kind of built up his momentum in 1 to 2, and then went down in 3 and 4 and dive bombed it. And I haven't seen the comments yet, but I can almost guarantee you there's probably a gajillion comments of people who would have said this was the most boring race ever because no one crashed, but now because someone crashed someone, it's now the worst NASCAR race because of that. So when we get something exciting, it's a bad thing. When we get nothing exciting, it's a bad thing. I'm not one of those fans. I'm going to call it down the middle. I'm going to keep it just normal, keep it real. The finish was epic. I loved it. Yes, I know. Austin Dillon dumped Logano. He dumped Hamlin. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm okay with it. Even if Elliott got dumped in it, and you would know this because I didn't want Elliott to dump Hamlin. at the Coke 600 last year, so I'm not a what do they call it, a fanboy or something. Look, I call it down the middle. I actually enjoyed it, and as far as I'm concerned, that was one of them. That was I could see Earnhardt doing something like that for a win, because he has wrecked people before in worse ways. I'm just keeping it real, not comparing Dillon to Earnhardt or nothing, but I'm just saying, let's call a spade, you know? Earnhardt wrecks someone, it's okay. But if anyone else does, oh no, the sport's dead. I don't know. The finish was fun. Seeing Logano and Hamlin, they tried it, holding them off. Logano was going to win the race, and I'm like, Dillon doesn't want it bad enough. I apologize. I'm really tired right now. I was going to do just a really short recap, and then literally the craziest finish maybe of the year. I mean, they're going to be re-showing this finish for every Richmond commercial for like the next 20 years, assuming they don't bulldoze the racetrack, which at this point, if they were to announce Richmond will never get another cup date, I wouldn't shed a tear. I'm sorry. It's boring. Unless you have an overtime finish or a restart. Then it's kind of exciting. But outside of that, no. It's not worth 4 hours of my life watching that. Back to the finish. Do I think it's fair or foul? I think it's fair. Because I would have done the same thing. Ooh, spicy opinion. I would have moved him. I mean, it's stock car racing. You put fenders on a car for a reason. To use them. I don't have a problem with it. It's part of racing. It's exciting. You know, they needed this. There was nothing to talk about. I was even looking at the Instagram page for like NASCAR and NBC, NASCAR YouTube channel. None of them were posting anything that was going on in the race. I wonder why. Because nothing happened. So they needed this. I'm so glad Richmond is done for the year. I hope they never race there again. I'm kidding. Or maybe I am. If they would just reconfigure this racetrack, guys, not to get on a rant, but if they would just reconfigure it and just make it a super high-banked racetrack, the racing would be great. It's already been proven at Iowa. You add banking, the cars go faster. The next-gen car runs better at higher speeds. It would probably be a pretty good show. It would shut people up like me. So, you know, there's a saying that you have to adapt or die. Atlanta Motor Speedway was pretty much dead. They used to have 2 500-mile race dates. Used to sell a buttload of tickets for the Busch races, the Cup races. They lost one of their dates. Every year the grandstands got shallower and shallower. And what did they do? They adapted. They reconfigured, made one of the most craziest turns I could ever remember in like track reconfigurations ever. And it's a hit with the fans. What has Richmond done to adapt to the current modern day fan? The short attention span, very social media, highlight driven fan. The demographic that's paying your bills essentially. Nothing. They used to have 2 race dates. One in the spring, one in the fall. Do they get 2 in 2025? From what I'm hearing, no. Who knows? They used to have the playoff cutoff date. That got taken away. Then they had a normal playoff race. That got taken away. Now they might be just down to just 1 race date. They tried day race, night race, 2 day races, 2 night races. Nothing. They rebuilt the garage area. They changed the track logo. But the one thing they have not fixed is the actual racetrack itself. Maybe they tried some resin, some PJ1. Reconfigure it. I tell you, it would make the racing so much better, and you would probably still have 2 race dates on the calendar, assuming one of them gets replaced by, I think it's Mexico City or some international race. That's just my honest opinion. So, not to get on a diatribe here, but I'm tired. That race was crazy. I'm okay with Dillon doing it because I like seeing it. That's fun to me. I'm not one of those people that complain that races are too boring, nothing happens, and then when we get something controversial, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, that's too much. Nope. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's drama. Thank you all for watching. I don't know if they'll be making the Race 1 diecast. I imagine they will. You can pre-order that at Circle Diecast. Use promo code DiecastBuffet. I imagine it's going to have a little damage to it. Maybe some confetti. The Chris Buescher Richmond summer race from 2023 did have confetti on it, so maybe it will. Who knows? You can use that promo code Diecast Buffet. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the finish. But man, if they never have another race at Richmond with this racetrack and never reconfigure it and just pull it off the schedule for next year, I honestly would be okay with it. I'm sorry. I'm it's that bad. I don't know. It's weird how you have like the most boring Richmond races and then they just have a random caution and it just everything goes crazy at the end. What did y'all think? Did y'all enjoy? Am I crazy? Am I like an alien and I'm the only one that found most like 99% of this race extremely boring and hard to watch? And this is coming from a guy who will watch a 7-hour NASCAR race if it existed. You know, give me 7 hours at Chicagoland. I'll find a way to enjoy it. I love the Coca-Cola 600. I love the Southern 500. When you have, you know, caution after caution and you got like a hour-long red flag. I enjoy those very just crazy NASCAR races that seem to never end. I enjoy them. So it's not like I have an attention span problem. It's just there's literally nothing going on. I'd rather watch football. I regret not watching more football. Thank y'all for watching. Fortunately, Michigan's next, and then Daytona and Darlington. So, and I think Atlanta after that as well. So, like, the next 4 NASCAR races they're like, oh, it's so good. I'm tired. Like, really tired. And I gotta edit this video. And I gotta upload this video. And I gotta put a title on this video. I gotta put a thumbnail. I gotta do all that. I'm tired. This event literally about put me to sleep. Have a blessed one, everybody. Diecast Buffet.